This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. What I'm looking at today is the third season, probably the final season, knowing Netflix, of 13 Reasons Why. And I have to admit, with season 2, I was asking myself, how can this continue without getting absurd? I think the phrase I used was Scooby Gang, going around solving potential suicides and that type of thing. And I have to admit, this is a really clever series. And the third epitomizes that because it actually turns to an Agatha Christie story, 10 Little Indians. And I'm not going to give away the story in case you haven't seen it, but if you've read Agatha Christie and 10 Little Indians, you know exactly how this works. And it's really clever. And it's super dark. I mean, seasons 1 and 2 of 13 Reasons Why weren't particularly optimistic by any stretch of the imagination. But 3 kind of piles on the darkness. And it's shocking how dark this series gets. But it's actually, in context, a good thing. And it's good because it works for the story, but also at no point during watching any of these episodes did I think to myself, this is a young adult series. And young adult is not an insult, but it is a certain niche. And certain things happen in young adult fiction and television and movies. And not for one moment did that come to mind watching 13 Reasons Why, the third season. Because the themes it tackles and the way it does it, with such gusto, with such class, elevates it beyond what I typically think of as young adult fiction. Now the thing is, the third season is not perfect. And the reason why it's not perfect in what it does is that there's a character introduced, Ami, or I think it's Ani, A-N-I. And the problem with this is this character is given such precedence in the narrative and you don't know why. And this bothered me for most of the 13 episode arc. And that was pretty problematic for me because I couldn't get it through my head why anyone was trusting this person. If she had made an appearance in either of the first 2 seasons in some capacity, then I would have went, okay, I at least recognize this character and I understand why people are responding to her in the manner that they did. In fact, if she had been introduced in the first season, given more to do in the second, and even more to do in the third, then I would have gotten it. But as it stands, she wasn't there in the first, she wasn't there in the second, and we're supposed to believe that these people going through all this shit would trust in a stranger in the third. It made no sense to me. And I get how the story was trying to make it seem that she was present the entire time. She was the daughter of the nanny / housekeeper of the Bryce's family. I get that, but it wasn't very well done. That character did not exist in the prior 2 seasons. So why was she in the third? It really bothered me because if you've seen the prior 2 seasons at all, these kids, I'm sorry, kids is denigrating them in a way, I think. These people have gone through some serious shit, some serious difficult times, and they're trusting in her, who they'd never seen before? It's very weird to me. And again, as I said, I get it that according to the narrative of the third season, she was there prior. But she wasn't there, really. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm sure she was not in the first season, no doubt. Maybe she turned up in the second. I don't remember her character. And the thing is, I remember all the characters, as far as I'm aware, from those seasons. And she's not there. So to have her suddenly pop up and to be so A, trusted, and B, so manipulative and nosy and irritating was problematic for me. it didn't take me out of it, but it took me a while to get into it because I didn't get why anyone would trust this person. She was a great actress, by the way. I don't mean to be critical of her performance. That's not what I'm talking about. The issue I'm talking about is a writing issue. She should not have been there. That role should have been that's not quite what I mean to say. She should have either been introduced earlier in season 1 or 2, or not there at all, and used another character to bring that about. So that was really frustrating. Another thing is that I mentioned how dark this series is. And one way that it's so dark is that it says there's no redemption. It would have played like a sitcom if they had suddenly found a real neat way to put the death of Bryce aside. And they certainly don't. But my God, there is no, in this series, in life in some respects, if you fuck up in the wrong way, you fucked up for life. You're done. There's no way out of it. And this series epitomizes that. And it's very realistic in that respect. But my God, it's hard to watch. It is insanely difficult to watch because these people, no matter what they do, no matter how hard they try, they just cannot get out from under their stuff. Things just don't go right sometimes. Again, just like real life, sometimes things just don't work. You can try your damnedest, but they just don't work out. And in this show, things just don't work. In some ways, even the good people in this series are not that good. Again, like real life, there's typically no one coming around with a white hat and solving all the problems. And the bad guy, conversely, doesn't wear a black hat. And Bryce, in the third series, tries his damnedest to be better. He's not always good at it, obviously, but he tries. That's not to say he hadn't done heinous things, but he tries. And the world within that series said, fuck you, you're done. And that's realistic, to be totally honest with you. Life will do that. But at the same time, it's hard to watch. That being said, the third season of 13 Reasons Why is pretty damn good. The Ami thing aside, which is again so irritating and so odd considering how well the show is done in general, it's truly worth watching. And so much worth watching, in fact, I want to see another season. I don't think there is going to be another season, but I would like to see another season of this show. I want to see more of their angst. I want to see more of them grappling with the compromised lives that they live, like regular people. And it's real fascinating. It's not an easy watch. It's not a fun watch, but and there's no redemption here. This show has no redemption at all for anybody. But at the same time, it's very realistic, it's brutally honest, and remarkably ugly with the things really attractive people do. So that's fascinating. And I mean, I can't recommend this series enough. In fact, I'm probably going to rewatch all 3. I don't know why I would put myself through that. But at the same time, these are fully realized, fully imagined people. And I know their journey is a difficult one. But nonetheless, I don't mind accompanying them on it. Even though I know they're not heading to really good ends. These are people that I grew to care about. And I know it's a television series. These are not real people. But they feel real to me. And I'm willing to suffer for people I care about. And I care about these people. Television show and all, I get that. It's not real. But they feel kind of real. Their pain, their angst, their suffering, their dreams, their aspirations. These things feel real. That's what people are all about. And this show embodies those characteristics. So if you haven't been watching 13 Reasons Why, check it out. It's not a fun time. It's sometimes not enjoyable at all to watch. But then again, people aren't always fun. They're not always enjoyable. And that it makes me want to see more of them, despite that fact, makes it worth watching again. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Review. Peace.